Welcome to Bridal Owner Success Stories. I'm your host, Mindy Linscomb, founder of Bridal Owner Success School, also known as BOSS. Each episode of this podcast, we will dive deep into hearing the stories of successful bridal shop owners, uncovering their biggest challenges and their valuable life lessons. I can't wait for you to get to know them as well. Let's get started. Hello there, and welcome to the Bridal Owner Success Stories podcast. And today I have a special guest. I'm Mindy Linscomb, your host, and please welcome to the studio, Courtney Foreman from Washington. And I'd love for you to tell us the name of your store and a little bit about how long you've been in business and doing this whole thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting. My name is Courtney Foreman, and I own Weddings with Joy in Olympia, Washington. So we're kind of nestled in the Pacific Northwest, about right in between Seattle and Portland. So I have had Weddings with Joy. So I'm technically the fourth owner, but I have had it for exactly 9 years today. Today, I know.
Well,
I
happy
got the keys.
anniversary.
Thank you. I got the keys, on, the 1st of September, but I did not take my very first bride until 9 years ago today. It was Labor Day weekend. It was awesome.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to hear, because most people don't grow up thinking, one day I'll own a bridal store. So how in the world did you decide to buy Weddings with Joy?
Well, that is a really good question because I've always been infatuated with weddings. Obviously, since I was a bride, I just was like, wow, I love this magical world of weddings. It's so fun. Thought it would be so fun maybe one day to own a wedding venue. No. But I was just working my 9 to 5 in banking. So I was a banker in my previous life. And honestly, it just was like something different to do. And I
Did
had,
you know the lady? Like, how did this come
yeah.
up?
Yeah. So actually, my dad was an entrepreneur and owned a small business. And the previous gal that owned it was a customer and was like, hey, do you know anybody that wants to buy my store? And he was like, well, I don't know, how much you selling it for? And that pretty much was it. So we started talking about it maybe early to mid August, and then literally September 1st was when I took over. And yeah, I had no idea what I was doing.
And had you never even worked in bridal?
Yeah, so I actually did. I worked at a small shop. Um, I was really excited because I was like, oh my gosh, this is my dream job. I'm so excited. And it was not a very good culture, and it ended up not being a good fit. I ended up actually getting fired. Isn't
From
that so
bridal.
crazy? From bridal. Yes.
And
Yes.
then fast forward how many years?
Probably, gosh, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Did that caution you at all to be like, maybe I shouldn't buy this because I got fired in bridal?
No, because I knew that I was literally had stars in my eyes, heart eyes, looking at these brides that came in. And so I knew that my heart was there. Their culture just wasn't like that. And so
So you
I
were like,
knew
if
that.
I can control the culture.
Yeah, exactly. And so I didn't really know what culture was at that point. I was just kind of surviving, as a basic one woman show at the time. But yeah, I remember thinking wow, this was the coolest job. It was so fun seeing the brides in their dresses and stuff like that. But yeah, we weren't a match.
Okay, but bridal was a match for you. It just had to be in a different setting.
Yes.
Okay, so, 9 years later, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing to see how much you've exploded in just even the 9 years that you've owned this. My question would be is what do you wish someone had told you that was really a huge surprise when you now are in bridal? You're like, I never thought about this, or I never even imagined that. It was totally catching you off guard. When you bought this business, would have loved to know blank. What would you have loved to know?
Everything. Honestly, that is a really good question because I literally knew nothing. Like everything I learned, I figured out on my own. Like I feel like I took on like my POS system was like pretty archaic. It was really hard to use. They were doing paper, ordering, and so figuring out the process, and I don't just trying to figure out how to do everything. So I feel like I came in at a really nice time because it was slow season, and so it was a nice way for me to like dip my toes in figuring out before January came. um but probably like that you don't have to do everything just because that's how it has been done before, and I feel like that I really wish I would
Permission,
have.
almost like a permission to give yourself,
Yeah,
like, just because it's been done this way, you can change it up.
correct. Yep, yep, yep.
I love it.
Yep.
And then what would you say has like been the thing that brought you the most joy from the 9 years of owning a bridal store that you're like, this actually, I smile about it every time I think about it. Like, was it an
Yeah.
experience? Was it somebody you helped? Was it a thing that happened with your team? Like, what's a
Yeah.
story that you can tell us that you're like, I have so much happiness when I think about it.
Well, I think too back just I had a super part-time girl on my team, and it was just me every other day, every minute of every day, and doing all the things, the bookkeeping, the steaming, the receiving, the ordering, the helping of the brides. So I think that just kind of was really exhausting. Like it was really hard to do that for years on end. And so I feel like I just kind of was getting into my groove a little bit right before the pandemic hit, and then that was like, oh wow, okay, this is something different. I don't know. But I think coming out of 2020 and getting some different people on my team has been transformational. Like people that actually care and like genuinely like are here for the brides. And I think that truly has made it everything that I could
Yeah,
want and
what
more.
does your team look like now, Courtney? How many people do you have?
Yeah, so I just actually hired two new Saturday girls, so that's been super fun getting them all trained. But we have a manager, which is super exciting. She just became my manager at the beginning of 2023, and she's been wonderful, so wonderful. She's been with me since we reopened from COVID, so that has also been great. She's been with me through, the weird things and the new
Ups and the
things,
downs,
and
ups and the
yeah,
downs.
yeah, all of the things. So it's been really good. And then I have another part-time gal that helps out during the week, and another Saturday girl. So I've got 5 employees, which is really the most I've ever had.
Running a successful bridal shop can be challenging, but with the right support, it can also be incredibly rewarding. Hi, I'm Mindy Linscomb, founder of Bridal Owner Success School, aka Boss. After 17 years in the bridal industry, I've developed proven strategies that drive both positivity and profitability in your business. Through Boss, you'll receive insightful coaching, time-tested frameworks, and a community of bridal shop owners dedicated to helping each other succeed. Ready to boost your profitability and find more energy in your business? Visit bridalownersuccess.com and sign up for Boss today.
That's amazing. That means even in what people would say is an uncertain economy, you are doing great. I love hearing that.
Yep. I am choosing to believe that it's going to be great.
Well, you are doing great. You're
Yep.
exceeding your numbers year over year. So when you do that, like that's great news. You know what
Yep,
I'm saying?
absolutely. And the thing, even if we are, have a slower month, then, we can make up for it within our profit margin. And I feel like that has just been life changing. So
Yeah.
it's been good.
Well, I love it. And I should probably clarify why I know that about you is because we know each other for 4 years. We've been working together as business coach and client, and I am just so happy for you to have the success that you have, to have bought your building, to, I don't know, it's just like so cool to see all the beautiful like goals that you're achieving. And a lot of people maybe know what to do, but just don't do it. So I just want to commend you for getting in there. And like we were just talking about before this call, doing it, doing the hard
Yeah.
thing that not everybody wants to do. And you are an outstanding bridal shop owner because even on the Tuesday nights when nobody's looking, I know wherever I am in the world that Courtney Foreman is taking excellent care of Weddings with Joy, and she's locking up her shop with all of the loose ends tied up. And so I just want to say, like, I want to majorly applaud you for being so hardworking and showing up day after day when nobody's looking and doing the hard things, the hard things.
Yes.
So,
Thank you. Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Well,
It's so
maybe
nice to hear.
let's talk about the hard thing. Let's talk about what is something that surprised you that was like super hard to walk through as a business owner. And you know, it could maybe it was COVID for you, but I know everybody would probably say that was theirs. So if there's something else, maybe I don't think that's going to happen again, but something that could happen again to somebody listening that's a bridal shop owner is like, oh, this happened. And you know what's cool is that we're all human. We all make mistakes, and the only thing we can do is apologize for it. Courtney, can you believe even last night I was texting with a customer, myself, from my personal cell phone, saying, I'm sorry, our store made this mistake. It's nothing acceptable. I'm going to cover all the things. Please forgive me. And she's like, I am just so impressed that you're still handling this. And I said, well, yes, because at the end of the day, my reputation matters. And
Yeah.
so it's like 9 o'clock at night and I'm still texting with this girl. And my husband's like, are you done yet? But the reality is, it's like, no, when you're a bridal shop owner, you care about these women.
Yeah.
You care that they feel taken care of. And she respected the most that I just owned it. That
Yeah.
I said, "We made the mistake. I'm so sorry." She said that blew my mind that you weren't defensive, you weren't trying to make up a story. Like we just owned our mistake. And I think that's a good customer service like
Hat.
pledge
Yeah.
to make as an owner to say, hey, like when we make mistakes, we're gonna just say we made a mistake. We're sorry about that. But I would love to hear from your 9 years of doing this. I know there's something that comes to mind that you're like, oh, I want to make somebody feel normal and tell them the crazy mistake I made and how I learned my lesson. Do you have anything crazy like that?
I mean, I just because I'm like all in my feels today about it being 9 years, I just am thinking back to that very first year of how crazy it was. Like, I literally had no idea that you had to go to bridal market 2 times and buy dresses 2 times a year. Like, I literally, like I said, got the keys on the first, and that next weekend, we had a wedding show that we actually sold dresses at. So we like loaded up the truck and sold all our sale dresses at, which was super fun for a couple of times. And then it got really old quickly because it was like 3 times a year. So it's just too much. It's just too much. And again, that's one of those things where I just did it because we always did it, and or Weddings with Joy always did it. And so I'm like, well, I guess we just
I
have to
guess I
do
gotta do
it.
it. Yeah, I gotta do
Yeah,
it.
I don't want to lose my booth placement. Like, why? Who cares? Goodbye. Um, and then and then a week after that, we go to bridal market, and I had no idea what I was doing there. Like, it was so overwhelming, and I just think I overbought. I had no budget. I didn't even know what my market was needing because I had only worked with a handful of brides prior to.
So you legit probably did what a lot of us new owners do, and when the rep just says you should get this, you're like, okay.
100%, 100%. And it took years to dig myself out of that and curate a collection that was actually stuff that we need. Now, when a rep tells me, oh, you need this dress, I absolutely do not get it because I don't need it.
I
I
love that.
absolutely know I don't. So whenever they say that, I will not put it on my order.
Now you're
Um,
like, I know my strategies. Please leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember like legit staying up until midnight watching Say Yes to the Dress, and like, okay, that's what they say. Okay, so this is when you take the dress back. Like, just so crazy. Like, that is so funny to me that I did that.
That was your training.
1000%. And like little clips on YouTube. And so when I say like the pandemic, like literally like changed it, like changed everything in the trajectory of my business because I was able to be at home and fill all of my time with education. And I feel like because I knew nothing, I'm like, I can never not be without something, tapped into something, because yes, we hear all these things and we know that we need to be, looking at our numbers, and but it's like, what does that really mean? And so, and having those reminders, like how many times we go to market every year, right? Twice a year. So like we know how the market strategy, but it's always so good to, get tapped back in and getting it refreshed at the top of your mind. So
Well,
I don't know.
okay, you brought up a point that I wasn't even going to bring up, but I think I will now, that you love education, that you probably, out of all the bridal shop owners that I've ever met, have paid for more experiences, conferences, coaching, all the things. I just want to know, like, what has really helped you the most? And you don't have to say if it's my program. I'm sincerely curious to what has helped you the most.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a really good question, because I feel like I said, because I literally knew nothing, I'm so scared to be without any kind of, information in my earbuds. Um, so honestly, it's probably a mixture of Wendy's Do You Speak Bride program. I feel like that has been really, really impressive for our stylists and really our overall culture of our shop. Um, our stylists really, believe in it too, which I think is super, super great. And she's just a wonderful, positive person. So it's really hard to not just enjoy her. Um, but then that's also how I met you, Mindy, and through the Do You Speak Bride, the owner course and the manager courses and stuff like that. And so honestly, like it's just been so wonderful to have you kind of go out on your own and really just kind of be immersed in how you have, ran your company and successfully, might I add, and so it's really awesome. It's been really, really great having you on my team.
No, I was going to say business coaching for 4 years, and I feel like every year you beat your goal that we've been together. Every year you beat it and you've surpassed what I even thought was possible. And I'm just so proud. I mean, like I said, just so proud of your success, and you do the things that I recommend, and I'm so proud of you for that. Um, okay, so what are you most excited about in the years to come that you're like, hey, I cannot wait for this one day. Like, is that one day you want to be a remote owner, or one day you want to, build a team, or anything that you're really excited
Yeah.
about? Like, what do you dream of?
Well, that's a really good question. I I really love being in my store, but not having to be in my store. So I think I never really even thought about wanting to own the building and things like that. And so I'm kind of in the process right now of figuring out what that all looks like. Um, so yeah, I feel like that is a really good investment for the future. And so I'm really excited about, potentially owning my building that we're in. I had thought about, moving and, growing and this, that, and the other. And I just really like the little spot that we're at. It's been there for over 40 years, and it's a really cute little
Oh,
spot.
it's a
So
beautiful building. There's so
yeah,
much natural daylight. And
yeah.
how long has it been there? 40 years?
Yeah, over 40 years, and it's like right on like a main street in our town. So I don't know, I just feel like it's just a really special spot. So I feel like it would be a good investment. So I'm just choosing to believe that it's going to be great.
It is going to be great. It's going to be
Yeah.
a great investment. And just the notoriety you have of 40 years on the same location, like people, generations remember that. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like when
They do.
daughters get engaged, the moms are like, there's a bridal shop over blah, blah, blah. So, I think,
Yeah.
when people think about moving, they do need to count the cost of losing that, like, familiarity of people being in a community. And especially in a town like yours where I feel like people in Olympia, or even a lot of places in America, it's like their hometown. It's not a big city where people are coming and going all the time, like there's multiple generations that stay there because it's their hometown. And
Yep.
so their notoriety is also heavier than, let's just say, a New York City where people are coming and going and it's not like people live there their whole lives.
Exactly. And there is nothing better than when we hear moms or aunts say, I got my dress here. I got my dress here. Like that is the coolest thing, to think that they're coming to shop at Weddings with Joy with their daughter.
Oh, I love that. I
So
love that
it's so neat.
so
It's
much.
really great.
I love that so much. So I hope people listening will go check you out on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
Yes, it's just at Weddings with Joy.
And Courtney is one of the leaders in our country when it comes to best bridal shop owners. That's why I wanted you to hear her success stories. She is one of them to celebrate. So I hope you guys follow along on her journey and high five her if you see her at market, because she's doing a lot of good things. All right. Thank you, Courtney, for being with us today.
Thanks, Mindy, for having me. This was super fun.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Bridal Owner Success Stories. I hope you found some inspiration and encouragement for your own career in the bridal industry. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We are in this together.